G'day and welcome to the video. This is where it all began, back in late June 2022. I was something of a latecomer to streaming and content creation. I didn't even use a microphone for several months. As to a face reveal, yeah, that's a pipe dream. I can't even really recall why I decided to start streaming, but I did. So, given my spectacular decision-making skills, was my gameplay going to be any better? Clearly not. The idea was that I'd start with vanilla Minecraft 1.18.2, which was the version at the time, and work my way gradually through a modpack I'd made. I had a couple of ground rules that I'd set for myself. It would be hard survival, alternating with hardcore, No-F3, you base where you spawn, and the world is deleted upon death. As I progressed death by death, I'd gradually add in more components of my mod pack until the full pack was running. Despite playing Minecraft on and off since 2011, I'd never been to the end, let alone beaten the game. So that would be the goal, to beat Minecraft. Even better, not only hadn't I sorted out my recording and stream quality settings that well, I wasn't recording gameplay to local storage, and the VODs, well, they're long gone. Except for the converted YouTube videos that this is now coming from. Frame rate was choppy, sounds barely worked, it was great. Clearly, over time I improved my processes and got better at keeping copies of things, sometimes. But we'll get to that point in later videos. For now, enjoy where it all started, a hard survival No-F3 run in vanilla 1.18.2 Minecraft. I'll show that it's a random seed, hard survival, and a useful world name. And no cheats. With all that in place, we're off. Alright, remember the rule. We base where we spawn. First thing, we need to work out our directions. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west, and we know we're in the morning of day one by base the sun still climbing. We'll grab some dirt and pillar up. That'll allow us to mark the exact spawn location, as well as give us a little bit more of a look around as to what's in the immediate vicinity. Okay, we have lots of water, we have some acacia, spruce, oak and birch. Alright, we'll take a bit of height off, and first problem, we were too high, we've taken damage already. But since we know the direction, we can now work out our north, put a nice big north arrow down, and head off to start gathering resources. First thing we need, after dirt, trees. Wood. Headed for our spruce tree that we saw from the top of our dirt pillar. We'll strip the leaves away from the trunk so that we can let them decay while we're trying to chop the trunk down. After just a little bit of effort, we have ourselves our first set of 5 logs. So we turn them into planks, turn them into a crafting bench, turn some more of those planks into sticks, put our planks down and start crafting. We give ourselves a pickaxe and an axe. We finish knocking the leaf blocks down. Never nice to leave floating leaf blocks after taking a tree down. We go off and we use our brand new axe on the nearby oak tree. Unfortunately, we didn't get any saplings from that first spruce, but we're heading for some saplings out of this tree. There we go. And then over to take care of the other nearby spruce. Our first spruce gave us no saplings, our oak gave us a couple, but thankfully this spruce, even though it wasn't any bigger than the first one, has given us 7 saplings. That's enough for us to get our first giant spruce tree planted. Great for lots and lots of timber, and also as a good marker for where our base is as we go exploring. Back to base, and we turn all our logs into planks. This probably wasn't the smartest thing to do at this point. Put the crafting table down, take our planks, and the first thing we're going to craft with them is, a double chest. I mean, it's not like my inventory is overflowing with items at the moment, but, well, clearly I feel the importance here is a double chest, rather than going and getting stone tools, which we're now heading off to do. First blocks, first stone, in the middle of the first day. Well, priorities aren't great, but at least we now have our first stone tools. Nothing to speak of really in this initial search in the nearby ravine, but we do end up with a nice selection of iron. No coal, there's a little bit of copper around, but this one little vein gives us 16 iron, which is a great start for that, but we've got no means to smelt it as yet. Take a bit of a peek over the edge of the ravine, look down. There's no coal showing, there's no iron showing, tiny little bit of copper showing, and it doesn't look like there's a huge amount of stuff available. But there's no mobs to be seen. It's day one, to be expected, and we head back out. Sunset, we need to be back in base. Problem is, we have sticks, we didn't mine any coal. We have planks, but we didn't do anything about harvesting sheep. Oh look, there's a sheep right here. Rather than do anything with that one, and the other couple we can see here, we just walk past. We make ourselves a furnace, which might be an idea if we're going to make some charcoal, but we've turned all our logs into planks and sticks, and so we now spend a little bit of time poking impotently away at the furnace in despair, hoping against hope that the silly thing we've done up to this point is going to give us some sort of charcoal. Well, that didn't work. Since we've got no means to generate light and keep mobs away, we may as well set about doing something to protect ourselves. We'll use some more of the stone, make a stone sword, make a stone pick, make a stone axe, get ourselves all set up, use our double chest that we created before. We'll set up 16 iron ore ready to go in the furnace for when we finally do get coal or charcoal ready to roll. Our questionable prioritisation leads us to make a second furnace. Now we've got some stone gear ready to go, and given there's not much else to do here on the first night, we may as well get our rowboat out and go and have a bit of a look around. We go and find some zombies, and rather than stay in the boat to fight them, we get out, take care of them, and take care of the ones that got into our boat, or carrying on and finding some water spiders. It's going to be useful for getting some string early on. I mean, we could have got wool if we'd thought about it, but we didn't. And while it's relatively easy to take care of the spiders like this, I don't pay attention and very nearly lose my life on the first night. And of course, because I haven't been harvesting animals, I have no food. After that first set of misadventures, we find some passive mobs, harvest some cows, find a bunch of sheep, and finally decide to harvest some wool. Heading back to the boat, we stop off for some fish on the way home. So we've got a decent supply of raw meat and raw fish. And it's coming up to daylight as we get back to the rough vicinity of where the basing was. And there's our dirt pillar. Would have been great if we had some torches on it, so we could have seen it, but we're back. We get back, make a bed, make a fishing rod from the string we picked up, and store everything else back in our wonderful double chest. We still have that second furnace in our inventory for some reason, but we have a plan for that. One of our planted oaks has successfully grown overnight, so we'll head off and harvest that now. You'd think that if I'd managed to get at least 4 logs, 5 logs, 6 logs, I could do something about making some charcoal. But no, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the furnace, then we're going to turn our second furnace into a smoker. So now we have 2 devices and no means to heat them. With our decision making going so well at this point, we had a field, grabbed some flowers and grabbed some birch from the nearby birch and oak stands that we saw from the top of our dirt pillar on the first morning. On our way back to our rowboat that we used to get across here, we notice we have our opportunity to get our first animals. Chicken. One short boat ride later, and the chicken is having its new home prepared. A nice 1x2 hole. Fill it in to make sure it can't get back out, and Mr. Chicken will soon enter his new home. A little bit of convincing later, and in he goes. With all the many tasks we have that we need to do, such as charcoal, coal, more stone, more resources, more animals, instead we plant saplings. That island with the acacia on it looks interesting, so rather than explore the nearby ravine, which has potentially a lot more resources, we take our rowboat across and find plenty of surface iron. We mine that out. Oh, coal, our first coal. We're only partway into day 2, and we've got our first, single piece of coal. Well, at least we have torches now. And more iron. We'll mine that away as well. No, single. That's fine. Okay, we have a look. Up this coal up the top there. And not much else. So, I'm not going to pillar up from down here. We'll go climb up the outside and then come down from on top. Rather than actually digging down and getting the coal, our first stop is these acacia trees. I mean, they weren't going anywhere. It's not like we were herding for wood. I mean, and we only had one piece of coal so far. We've already turned that into torches, which we still have, all 4 of them. I mean, surely we can wait longer. We've survived so far without any charcoal or coal. Now that we've finished being distracted by nearby timbers, it's time to start digging and try and get that coal we saw. Quick dig down through some dirt, a couple of blocks of stone, and we're straight onto that coal. Which is fantastic. This is going to give us our first set of actual semi-useful quantities of coal that we can use to smelt our iron, to get iron gear, and to cook our food, given that we don't have any crops in as yet. So it isn't quite day 1 where we're still filling in day 1 priorities, but it seems we're getting there. We have timbers, we have seeds, we have an animal, we've got ourselves some coal, got ourselves some iron, and now that we're back at base and it's dark, we use some of our valuable torches to light things up, use a couple of our valuable coal to smelt 16 iron, and we set about cooking our remaining raw meat that we harvested the night before. Now it's night time, and here I am staring at a smoker that is smoking 6 pieces of mutton, and I have 2 raw fish in my inventory. I think you can work out what I'm trying to achieve here. Now, it would be far safer just to sleep the night through and gather whatever's cooked in the morning and leave it be. No way that both those fish are going to cook in time. But, come morning, I set about and do probably the first smart thing I've done the entire gameplay so far. And that is, not to eat some cooked mutton, that is to make a campfire. Because now, not only do I have an extra signalling device to tell me where the base is, but also I can now cook 4 food items at a time, and it's not going to consume any extra coal or charcoal or anything like that. Now, had I done that to begin with, probably would have been a lot smarter. But, yeah. I mean, I've only had the game for 11 years at this point. So now the focus is setting up our farm. My farms tend to be 9x9 paddocks with a fixed water source in the middle, and they therefore reach 4 blocks either side. And in this particular instance, we're going to go for a strip planting. So it'll be potatoes, wheat, carrots, wheat, beetroot, so on and so forth. So at the moment we only have wheat, so that's the only thing that goes in. With nothing else happening, we may as well start securing our base location, giving ourselves a roof and some walls and something to hold the mobs away. I mean, we're a few days in, it is a hard survival playthrough, and we've not seen any mobs at the base. Now, I mean, that's probably telling me there should be something, a decent cavern system underneath that is probably overflowing with mobs. But at the moment, that doesn't cross my mind. Instead, we're busy still not prioritising what I'm trying to do. As you can see here, we've started our walls, but we've stopped to make some acacia stairs, stopped to make some planks, some doors, some fences, and instead we partially fence in our farm. We give ourselves a fancy door, even though we don't have walls, and set about continuing to put down our walls. Now, for the time being, one high wall with a one high window gap and then another block above it should be okay for most mobs. I mean, it's not going to stop spiders and any child zombies that happen to come in at the window height are going to be able to get through too, but at least for now it'll give us a decent chance of survival against anything that isn't going to come in over that small hill. Again, we haven't finished our walls, but now we're busy looking like we're going to be putting a roof on, or at least part of a roof, if our pattern of behaviour's gone so far, and there we go. We've started our roof line. And of course we hadn't put our end caps on, hadn't put the ends on, so we fix that up. Now have our ends on, and go back and finish putting our lovely burnable roof on. Now, normally I don't build with roofs that are flammable, but well, the decision making in this playthrough has been spectacular up to this point, so why not build a roof out of something that burns? So, carefully set out our acacia stairs with a nice little overhang and work our way back down along the wall lengths. Again, it probably would have been easier to have one of them lying flat on the roof line, but on the top plate of the wall. But see, that was for people who think ahead. Falling back inside the house gives us a chance to realise that we've got our 16 iron ingots readily available to us, so we may as well do something useful with them. We make a bucket, not a problem, an iron chest plate, pretty decent, and of the 5 remaining, instead of making shears, we give ourselves a shield and a nice, decent iron pick. Although, at this rate, I don't know that we're going to get anywhere near to needing an iron pick just yet. So what we were doing before we fell in the house and picked up our iron ingots then was putting the roof on. Do you think that is what we'd be going back to doing? No. We're going to dig through this little hill here and have a look at what's on the other side at the ground level that we're planning to have. Doesn't look too bad. We're not too far from the water line on the other side. Getting dark, but again, instead of prioritising safety and what we're going to do inside, we come outside and continue to put our roof on. Okay, you can see we've got the start of things working out. We've got some more acacias having grown, which is going to be good. But again, our prioritisation is we go and make some signs. After all, how do we know it's our base if it doesn't have a sign? So we've wasted time and resources making a sign and putting it up when we could have been finishing our walls, finishing our roof, securing our food supplies, finding more animals, digging more blocks, or really any other task than what we actually did. And I mean, it's okay at this point, but that's really all it is. We have our next set of acacia stairs ready to go, and rather than continue from the end that we were building from last time, we'll work our way in from the other end. Alright, having run out of acacia stairs, we instead now decide that we're going to keep working on our farm. Now, my normal farm designs are not just a 9x9 paddock, but we have 4 paddocks. We have 2 crop paddocks, and then at the back we have a sugarcane and a melon and pumpkin paddock. So what we're measuring out here will be the sugarcane paddock with water sources running up the middle of it. Again, it'll be a 9x9 design. We top slab the water, put some torches down so that it will always stay nice and beautifully lit, and call it a night. Rather than focus on fixing our roof or any of those other tasks, we come back and finish setting up the basic layout for our sugarcane paddock. Ignoring our actual tasks and activities, we have a wheat and we found a cow. So we're going to give our little chicken friend some more friends to keep him company. We've already widened the hole that we're going to hold the animals in anticipation of bringing the cow in, and some sheep of course. Our little chicken friend hasn't generated any eggs, so it's still only the one of them at the moment. In goes a cow. We head off to where we'd seen cows and sheep the first night. Of course it would have been useful had we actually used them to generate food and beds, but again, priorities. Our nice little tree plantation here is working quite well. We get them back to the hole and gently give them a nudge to their future home. Almost immediately after putting those animals in their new home, we have a visit from a wandering trader. Now those trades aren't great. I mean, I've already got oak saplings. I don't really need pods of. But your llamas have something I want. Well, you also have something I want. So here's my counter offer. And trade complete. And I have 2 leather and 2 leads. Fantastic. In the meantime, the acacias have grown, so now we can keep putting our roof on our humble abode, such as it is. So, rather than put the time into cutting down the acacia tree and continuing our roof line, instead we're going to go take time to cut down this nice, large, giant spruce tree. We staircase our way up and start knocking the leaves out as we go along. Only to notice the sun's a little low in the sky for this what we want to be doing at this time of day. But we carry on. And it starts raining. So, if there's going to be mobs popping out, we're probably in the wrong place at the wrong time. We've picked up enough saplings to make 2 giant spruce, so we'll put it down, put down a second, and then hurry back to our incomplete base. Okay, it's raining, but I will move the bed under partial cover. We're still kind of safe for mobs at the moment. Still a surprise, given that it is hard survival. We should have expected them by now, but we carry on with the roof. It's not like we've finished any of the other tasks we've got. Everything else is still outstanding. We still haven't finished our walls, we haven't put our windows in, our roof is still unfinished, there's still paths for mobs to get to the roof and drop in and visit us, and instead we decide now we're going to put in a floor. So we set to work digging out the ground level here and putting in our nice pretty little birch slabs to give us a floor. But even that's too good to be true. Rather than finish the floor, we decide now we're going to put in a ceiling. We have an incomplete roof, an incomplete floor, incomplete walls, and now we have ourselves an incomplete ceiling to go along with it. I mean, there's more than enough there to finish one of the tasks, but now we're focusing instead on filling in the walls to the spaces left where we're going to put our window glass when we get to collecting our sand and smelting it and making our glass. At least I can go upstairs now. With even those new tasks incomplete, we ignore them and go outside and work in the cane fields. Set aside putting down top slabs on our new water sources in our sugarcane farm, and set about making everything look just a little bit prettier, even though nothing's completed, nothing's closed up. And mind you, this is pretty much the end of where I got to in the first session of streaming. We come back into the next session with a renewed focus and a renewed effort to finish our roof line. We've got enough stairs, we're ready to go. Of course, we're distracted. Clear up the pillar that we had that marked our initial spawn point, fix up our lighting, and then miss the wall plate as we go outside to try and make the roof line. And finally, we're at a point now where we have our roof complete. You'd think that would be like our first or second night task to have a secure roof over our heads. Well, we've got there. There's still plenty of places for mobs to climb up. The walls have still got gaping holes in them where our windows should be. Ignoring all our other tasks, we come down, harvest some wheat, take it inside and turn it into bread. Now we have our self-sustainable food source up and running. Taking a break from all our other important things, we go for a boat ride, harvest some pumpkins, and decide to stop and pick some flowers. With a bit more motivation now that we've actually finished our roof and have a semi-secure house, we set about completing the floor. Instead of going all the way across the floor, we put instead a staircase. Now, we never actually finished this on this particular build, but this would lead down to a storage basement, where all our storage facilities, all our storage chests would end up. We never get to finish that, but that's the intent. It's a nice 2-wide staircase, 4 blocks long, and we complete the floor around it. We finally have some sensible progress. The roof's done, the floor's done, we've got our storage basement underway, and we're getting our glass smelted, ready to fill in some windows. We even take the time to extend the farm outside to put our second crop paddock in. We continue the work on the farm by putting in the last of our paddocks, our pumpkin and melon paddock. Rather than being a 9x9 ploughed field like the others, it is instead 5x9. It's still a 9x9 square, but with alternate unploughed rows so that the pumpkins and melons have somewhere to grow onto. Even though there's still plenty of work that can be done out here, it's looking not too bad. We've got most of our farm in place, we've got some partial fencing, eventually there'll be fencing all the way around, and the house is not looking too bad. It needs the windows, but it's got its walls, it's got its floor, it's got most of its ceiling. We're working quite well at this stage. at least compared to the start we gave ourselves. With the windows in place downstairs, the place is getting pretty secure. Now we come upstairs to where we've moved our bed and put in some nice large windows at either end of the roofline. Not counting the incomplete storage level, we are pretty much at a point where the house is effectively a house. Windows are in, floors are in, walls are in, ceilings are in, roof is in. We've got our paddocks and fields outside for our crops and sugarcane ready to go. We're getting our fencing put in. We're going to have our animals come in shortly from their pit on the other side of the house. So it's time to actually set about with our mine. It doesn't take long before a bit of extra light shows us that there was coal supply sitting on the surface within the ravine, so we'll mine that out and add it to our steadily growing reserves of available resources. We continue to work on turning the ravine into an easily accessible mine, picking up ores where we can, as well as extending our reach down further into the ravine. Much as it was the last time we paid the ravine a sensible mining visit, it's dark when we're finished. So we make our way back out and past the nicely lit up zones back into our house, which looks secure from the outside. Again, we still haven't seen or heard from any mobs, so we store our resources away in our lovely double chest and spot the first hostile mob to appear around our basing location since we started. It's a new day and it's a new us. So we head outside and take a look at our little handiwork and decide that we'll go across to where our giant spruce are so we can get a nice elevated view of what we've managed to achieve so far. I mean, it hasn't been the best way we've constructed things. Things have been quite a bit out of order, but come out and have a look and, yeah, we're dead. According to the rules we've set for ourselves, that's it for this world. Next one is a hardcore world. We'll see you then.